I generally do not get on this app and give parenting advice. Even though my husband and I have 6 children combined, we have had to navigate through situations that we never thought we would have to navigate through. But I was just in the grocery store and there was a woman speaking so incredibly loud. Everyone around her was in awe. And she was looking at us like she was annoyed that we were looking at her. Anywho, she was saying that she was so surprised that they do not talk to children about DRUGSs in school, and she seemed perturbed that she had to do it and have a talk with her 9-year-old because her 9-year-old sister died from a DRUG overdose. I want to say this, and you can take it or leave it. These are conversations that you need to have with your children. You cannot solely rely on educators to have these conversations with your children, especially when they're like young and you think that they don't need to have these conversations. I'm telling you they do. And I know someone's going to be like, that's their job. They're with them all day. And listen, they are with them a majority of the day. I mean, if you send them off to school, if you're homeschooled, it's different. And this probably doesn't apply to you. But your children probably know, like, and trust the teachers. And so what you can do is open these conversations up by either emailing the teacher and getting involved in their curriculum, or open the conversation up with your child by saying, hey, what did Mr. or Mrs. such and such teach you about XYZ? And then you can continue on and you can teach your children what they need to know. I grew up in the 80s and the 90s. I was unsupervised a lot. Why? Because parents have to work. I also went to Catholic school. So we didn't have a lot of these talks. We didn't have like the addiction talks and the sexual education talk. Do you know where I got a lot of my information? From my little friends. And that is exactly what's going to happen if you do not get involved with what's going on and what's being said amongst your children and their peers. Now, I'm not saying be all up in their business, but we have to get back to parenting our kids. And normally I wouldn't even say this because I don't like to feel like I'm being judgy of other people. And this is really like a blanket statement, but I'm going to say it because that woman was speaking so loud and it was just like, well, ma'am, I get what you're saying, but that is your job. And in the times that we're in right now, you need to have these conversations with them daily. Now, there are ways to do it so you're not completely overwhelming them. I like to just kind of slide it in there naturally and take moments just to check in with them and say, hey, did you see, XYZ? Because I know, especially the older ones, like my teenagers, I know they're already seeing it. And honestly, I really noticed this a lot during the global pause, because the amount of people who were complaining because they weren't like getting that break from their kids. And look, I understand it was so rough. Like, we had the 5 older kids and a baby. And, my husband was out in the field working with sick people. And it was very, very stressful. But the amount of people who were complaining, and I'm looking at it like, you need to take this time. You check in with them. Check in with them and see what they're thinking about this. What are their friends saying about this? How are they doing? We are going to go through terrible times. We've been through terrible times. And I feel like it's just going to get worse. But you need to flip that. Try to find the silver lining, okay? And get through it with your entire family. And that includes your children. All right, I'm done. Have a good day.